Do you have a new project coming up? Do you have a new big giant thing that you're trying to get more understanding and more clarity around, and you just don't really know what questions you can ask because you're either new in the industry or you just kind of need a refresher on the top questions that you can ask before you kickstart a new project or before you get into it with your team? Now, I'm going to just walk you through 4 core key questions and sections that you can ask yourself before you go into anything. Really, it's about understanding the purpose, the people, the project, and the process inside of these things. So again, it's people, project, purpose, and processes. And on top of that, we're going to go into some system mapping to help you understand at a high level what it is that you're going to be doing across your company or across your new system, your new project, whatever it is that you're creating. So let's just dive right into it. So the first thing that I want to draw your attention to is this project board. Now, last week we were talking about the scheduling and working on your projects and you coming through and having all these different projects that you're working on. We talked about all the different systems, rituals, routines, and habits across the week. We looked at the intention blocks, which were a set of really good questions that you can ask yourself. And we also looked at advancements. So the things that you can do inside of each of your milestones and how you can work those in and go really deep into each of those. We even looked at across each of these things, the passion, ambitions, roles and responsibilities, and how you're learning and growing. So if you take all that into account, but you still have people that you work with, you still have processes, and then you also have your rhythms and flows. So let's just dive into the 4 categories here that we're going to need to look at as we jump into our work. All right, so let's do this. So the first one that I want you to start thinking about as a pro, we need to think about the project actual, like the ingredients that make up a project. And I'm going to kind of go through these. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but I want you to know that you have the ability. You can take a screenshot here or just pause the video here and look at all these. But like, what problems are you trying to solve? What tools will the team use in the project for communication and design and product execution? And who is on the team and what are their roles? Like, you got to understand all these things so that you can know and you can have some established norms going into the project. Like, how much time do we have to complete this project? Why was that length decided? Do we have content to support this project? And who is responsible for writing that content? Another one is, what do we know and what do we need to learn? There we go. Who are the key stakeholders for this project? Like, who is going to be making the decisions in this project as we go? Is there any research that exists that would help with this project? Like, are there any research studies that have been done that we can check into and use as a helper? Do we have any subject matter experts on this team? Or is somebody already know tons about what we're about to build and what we're going to do for this project? You know, who's the final decision maker? Another one is, do we have any technology limitations? And what do we need in order to start this project? Do we have any dependencies? Why is this project important? What are the team norms and expectations for one another? Have we tried solving this problem before? And what happened? Why didn't it work? How will we ensure a high level of craftsmanship for this project? And how will we delegate out responsibilities of sharing out with the team updates? Could the work we do on this project benefit another team in the company? And what's the business goal or key metrics of success for this project? I know I just went through a ton of these things, but hey, let me come back to you. It's important to ask all these questions because it's going to increase your awareness of how you can help and support the team. If you're a junior designer, or you're just somebody that's taken a lot of instructions from your leadership team, it's still important to ask these questions up front and to get an overview of all of them and understand how you're going to get to them. It's just so important. So let's dive into the next set of questions. So yes, we have projects, but what about all the other processes inside. So a process could be, what are the project steps in getting this idea created, built, and shipped? Like, what is the software development life cycle? What is the product development life cycle? How do we make time to try new team rituals and processes? Like, what's new and what do we need to do here? Where do we go to document this project? Like, where is it going to be stored? In Jira, and Product Board, in Notion? Where is it going to be stored? In Figma? And how does the team currently bring contributors together for each project? So when you are contributing to a project, how do you bring everybody together? What is the sequence, the frequency of when you do that? Another one is, are there any points in the project where you don't know what's going on? And why is that? Like, where at in the process is it confusing for you? Another one is, you have an idea, how do you share it? When is the next customer call or usability test? When will we share this experience with our customers? And how might we train our team to facilitate successful meetings and engagements? How do we make sure we share our work before we come together as a group? How do we onboard new team members? What are the best times for the team to come together to work together? Does the team understand why it's important to invest in the team? How do we make sure each meeting has actionable next steps? How do we ensure best guess estimates when we state how long something is going to take? All of these questions are ways for you to elevate your team's performance and elevate how you go in and approach the processes inside. And I'm sure you can think of so many more. The next one we have to start thinking about is people. So what are we doing well as a team? How do we ask for help? Are there behaviors we should stop? Are there any existing rituals or practices we should be aware of? If you're new coming into a team, you want to be able to know what's new with the team and how can you best integrate. Another thing is, are there any existing rituals or practices we should be aware of? Do we have content to support this project? And whom is responsible for writing it? Same thing with people. How frequently will we come together to brainstorm new ideas? Did we try this before? Is it acceptable to email after work hours? Yes or no? Like, what's the rules? Do we believe we're solving the right problems? How might we pair up as a team members that can help cross-train one another? How will we know the happiness and health of our team? Does anybody have relevant or prior project knowledge? Like, you want to understand the people that you work with and what their goals are, what their desires are, what their needs are, what their challenges are, what the problems are. All of these things really help you get a better grasp and increase your awareness of how you're going to go in and support and approach your team in your projects. So how do we protect weekends and family time for all teams? How do we define when it's okay to message, email, or meet and reflect? How do we point out bad habits and behaviors? What skill gaps do we have on our team? And how do we escalate a disagreement? How do we share our skills with each other? And how might we share and encourage better behavior? Right? All of these things, again, super important. The last one I like to answer is around purpose. Like, you can have all your processes, your people, and your projects all defined and worked out, but if you don't have a clear picture of the purpose, like, what's the vision for you, your team, and your business? Like, what are you guys going to do when you go in and start focusing on something? What's your mission, your team's mission, and your company's mission? How will we measure success? Are there any team rituals or processes that are causing duplicate work? Are there any team rituals or processes that are creating conflict or frustration? What qualities do you appreciate in a team member? Do you believe we're solving the right problems? Is our team doing things that are not in line with the company's purpose? How might we pair up our team members that can benefit from cross-skill training? What are some things that drive you absolutely bonkers when it comes to your work? When do you like to work and collaborate with others? What do you want to learn while working on this project and team? What is a skill or hobby that you enjoy? What skills would you like to share with your team? Have you tried solving this problem before? What happened? Why didn't it work? What's your name and role? All of these things are questions that you can write, and I can guarantee you that you could probably come up and write a ton more. But the key here is to really think about, do I know my team really well? And if I don't really know them well, then I need to look at my projects questions. I need to look at my processy questions. I need to look at my purpose questions, and I need to look at my people questions. Like, how can I get to know each one of these things? The last thing that I want to draw your attention to is this really cool, simple way of, let me come back to you. Okay, so whenever I do start system mapping, and I like starting really high level, and I'm going to ask these questions about the companies, the clients, or the people that I'm here to support in my business. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to think about, like, well, what is the goal? And, if we had a system mapping, we might say that this might be the company name, your company name. Then we might say the goal is to do X, Y, and Z. I want you to fill it in. You got to understand what the goal is of the company. And then the second thing we're going to do, here, I'm going to actually make these white and then give them a stroke. Okay, what problems are we trying to solve? So, and I typically have two sets of these, just so like you can be really super radically simple. A and B, what are the two problems that we're trying to solve? Another one, what are the primary offers? So in the business, what are the primary things that you're selling? You're selling maybe an annual plan, A, B, and C, like a good, better, best model. Super simple. Then we have a team. Who is in the team? Team, you might have team A through Z. You might have like thousands of employees, so you might have these set up by projects. But you want to know who's on your team. The other thing you want to know is, what's the vision? Vision is to become the world's best at, what problem is when you go back to the problems that you're solving, why are you trying to do that? What's the vision? And then the connections are all the other nodes of products, services, communities, and companies that you're connected to. That's really important to note, and this is how I do a quick little snapshot of these companies. So let me actually show you what that looks like for next level UX. And I think that you'll find it quite fascinating for how I think about it for next level UX. All right, just grabbing the file. Coming on back over to you. All right, here we go. All right, so I just copied this over. So when we think about, what is the goal? Here, I'm just gonna make these. All right, so for next level UX, the goal is to build product and design growth systems. That's the goal. The problems that we're trying to solve is for people who have reached plateau, that need a reignite, that need support, that seek guidance and recurring motivation. What problems are we trying to solve? Trying to solve an integrated, holistic approach versus an individual, non-holistic approach where you're not focused on your entire self. And instead of it being somebody telling you what you should learn, this is you defining what you should learn and why. The primary offers is coaching, courses, mentorship, and projects. The team is just an ads team, video team, and a network of supporters. The vision is to be the world's #1 system for high-performance product and design training. And then the connections are SCAD, Growth Day, Figma, Adobe, Confluence, and Product Board. And this is just a way to organize your thoughts, because each one of these things, as you break them down, you need to be able to talk about like these problems that you're solving. You need to talk about just knowing each individual array of people. Like you might have huge teams, huge process, but just doing a mapping exercise like this can create a ton of clarity as you go through and you understand your team. Because then when you use all those things that you that you learn with your team to fill the gaps of the product. So if we come back in and we know that, oh, well, we have plans, we know the processes of how all these things are getting done, then we can start filling the gaps and improving the processes and the people relationships so that we can achieve more of these projects successfully and really just nail it when it comes to our projects that we're knocking down every single month. And when I was talking about environment last week, the in product ecosystem that you create and the people ecosystem that you create, these things need to collide in a really positive, beautiful way. You also have to really think about for all these things that we're doing, we still need to have a really smooth rhythm ritual that we want to maintain. And that's really what I'm trying to show you in these videos, is that when you increase your awareness and you can ask yourself some of these bigger questions, and then you can start defining it with your team and having discussions about it, it allows you to unlock the true gaps that you have in your business. And then once you understand the true gaps that you have in your business, then you can start making really, really great decisions. You can increase your velocity, you can increase your performance overall, you can have better schedules, better ways of getting your processes in check, getting your projects in check, making sure you and your team understand the purpose of what it is that you're trying to do, and you have more successful projects and the results of that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you haven't yet checked out some of the newer content that we have creating, I'm going to be hosting a live coaching summit, and this is going to be really great because it is 12 weeks long, and it's going to be like a week over week sessions. We're going to have 12 growth groups. We're going to get to go deep into each of these topics that I talk about, from clarity, goals, action, planning, practice, design energy, design clarity, design productivity, design impact, and then purpose, influence and courage, tools, people and tactics, and reflection. We're going to go through all of those over the 12 weeks. And that's the Next Level UX System training map. It's going to be a ton of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.